Good morning. My name is Fred Farias, and I'm chair of the Committee on Academic Workforce and Success. It is now 10:15 a.m., and I would like to call the July 22nd, 2020 Committee on Academic Workforce and Success meeting to order. This meeting is being held via Zoom. Please be aware that although we are meeting via Zoom, this meeting is still being broadcast via the internet. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome those joining us via Zoom and ask that they observe the following etiquette. 1, please state your name before you speak. 2, mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And 3, keep background noise to a minimum. Members, we will begin with a roll call to ensure that we have a quorum. When I call your name, please respond to confirm that you're on the call. Mr. Cody Campbell.
I'm here.
Okay, Miss Emma Schwartz.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Sam Torn.
Here.
Ms. Donna Williams.
Here.
Mr. Welcome Wilson.
Here.
Please record in the minutes that we have a quorum. Agenda item 2 is consideration of approval of the minutes for the April 23rd, 2020 committee meeting. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved. Welcome Wilson.
And I second.
Okay.
Cody Campbell.
Okay. Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Wilson, a second by Mr. Campbell. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against the motion. Mr. Campbell.
For.
Ms. Schwartz.
For.
Mr. Torn.
For.
Ms. Williams.
For.
Mr. Wilson.
For.
Motion passes. Thank you. We move on to agenda item 3 is consideration of approval of the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes non-controversial items that we think can be approved without comment or discussion. This allows us to save time for other items that need more of our attention. Highlighted items in gray are in the consent items or on the agenda. I want to point out that our practice of putting most of the rules in the consent calendar, given the extensive vetting process that they go through. However, due to current circumstances, we have placed additional items on the consent calendar for this particular meeting. Of course, any board member can request that any agenda item be removed from the consent calendar. That will give us an opportunity to discuss that item or items fully later in the meeting. Next, I will list the items on consent calendar for this meeting. Agenda item 5G, consideration of adopting the Lower Division Academic Course Guide Manual, ACGM, Advisories Committee recommendation to the committee relating to changes in the ACGM. Agenda item 5H is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the report on the autism grant program. Agenda item 5J is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the report on the effectiveness of the Open Educational Research Grant Program, Senate Bill 810, 85th Texas Legislature, regular session, and House Bill 1, Rider 5586, Texas Legislature regular session. Agenda item 5K is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the January 2020 annual compliance reports for institutions under certificate of authorization, names beginning with A through O. Agenda item 5L is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to requests for new degree programs. 1, the University of Texas at Arlington, Bachelor of Arts, BA in Philanthropy. 2, the University of North Texas, Master of Science, MS in Data Engineering. And 3, the University of Houston Downtown, Master of Professional Accountancy, MPA in Professional Accountancy. Agenda item 5N is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the issuance of a request for offers for the development and ongoing support of an online pre-assessment activity. Agenda item 5O is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to our committee relating to the issuance of requests for applications for the 1, Graduate Medical Education Expansion Program, 2, Nursing, Allied Health, and other health-related education grant programs. Agenda item 5P is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the appointment of members to 1, the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, LTAC, 2, the Lower Division Academic Course Guide Manual, ACGM Advisory Committee, 3, the Workforce Education Course Manual, WECM Advisory Committee. 4, Certification Advisory Council, CAC. And 5, Applied Texas Advisory Committee, ATAC. At this time, I'd like to add the following agenda items to the consent calendar. That would be agenda item 5C, a report to the Committee on Activities of the Lower Division Academic Course Guide Manual, ACGM Advisory Committee, as well as agenda item 5D, report to the Committee on Activities for the Medical Education and Graduate Medical Education Programs. Agenda item 5E, a report to the Committee on Activities of the Undergraduate Education Advisory Committee. Are there any other agenda items that anyone would like to add to the consent calendar? Hearing none, are there any agenda items that anyone wants to remove from the consent calendar? Is there any discussion or questions about that? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar as amended?
So moved, Mr. Torn.
Second, Emma Schwartz.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Torn, second by Ms. Schwartz. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against the motion. Mr. Campbell,
4.
Ms. Schwartz,
4.
Mr. Torn,
4.
Ms. Williams,
4,
Mr. Wilson.
4.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. We move on to agenda item 4, which is public testimony on agenda items relating to the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. We do not have anyone registered to testify, so we'll go on to the next agenda item, which is item 5A, which is a report to the Committee on Activities of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee, including the report on trusted funds distributed in fiscal year 2020. Dr. Fred Unger, who's the Vice Chair of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee, will provide a brief update of activities and will be available for questions. Dr. Unger, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, members of the committee. Dr. Farias, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Dr. Fred Unger. I'm the family medicine physician. I've been practicing in West Texas for the last 22 years, and I'm also an academician with the Texas Tech Health Science Center system. I am the residency program director of family medicine at Texas Tech. I'm also the vice chair of the Department of Family and Community Medicine at Texas Tech, Lubbock. Currently, I serve as the vice chair of the Family Practice at Residency Advisory Committee of the Texas Higher Education Board, and thus brings to my charge this morning to participate in this action and this activity. My chair is Dr. Mike Reagan, who's not available for this, and that's why I am the one presenting this morning. If I could take a minute and just give you a little background information on what we do with the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee. We were charged back in 1977 by the 65th Texas Legislature, and our intent of this program was to increase family physicians and family practitioners in this specialty, and also to encourage those physicians to establish their practices in rural and underserved communities in Texas. We, in the 2020-2021 biennium, we funded 814 residents at the tune of $5,889. We had 31 residency programs across the state of Texas, which did very, very well in the year 2020-21. Fortunately, we did not lose any residency programs this last academic year, and we're very excited about that. Some of the money was also allocated to rural rotations and also to public health rotations, and $206,000 were allocated for that. And some of the money was also given to the faculty development program, the Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine in Fort Worth, Texas. We've had an extremely robust year, and we're very excited about the developments that we have within our program. And our last meeting was on May 27, 2020, via Zoom, of course, because of the COVID issues, as you may know. And the committee reviewed and approved annual written reports and annual financial reports for all the residency programs that went about in 2019. The committee also considered the eligibility of 2 new family medicine residency programs in Texas, which we're very excited about. They've been funded under the Graduate Medical Education Expansion Program. The committee also considered funding allocation for the fiscal year 2021 for recommendations to the board. And so with that charge, we have 12-member group and members of this committee, and we report to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. To date, the Family Practice Residency Program's charge has actually funded and supported over 10,000 family medicine residents over the years, and we're pretty excited about that. We were appropriated at $5 million in the last biennium of 2020-2021, and we'd like to keep that money at that level so that we can support our 31 residency programs plus 3 more. So that's a total of 34 residency programs. We'd like to get more money, but we also understand the constraints that the state has had. And but at the same time, we also would not like to lose any more funding because we have a big charge to continue on with supporting residency programs and also containing rural Texas for this rural Texans with providing them doctors who are going to provide them the most bang for their buck. The estimated appropriation is about $5 million, like I said earlier. The estimated number of residents for this coming biennium with 874 residents, and the funding will be at a tune of $5,485 per resident, just a little less than we had last time. The total operation grant is $4.79 million. We'll have 40 rural rotations at tune of $2,500 each. That's a total of $100,000. 3 public health rotations at a tune of $2,000 each. That's a total of $6,000. We're also going to give $100,000 grant to the Faculty Development Center at Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine. The total allocation, again, all adds up to $5 million. With that charge, my appeal on behalf of all the deans of our schools of medicine, academic deans, our family medicine department chairs and program directors, and for the people of Texas, for that matter, who we diligently serve. I'd like to see the funding proposal approved at the current budget of $5 million or more, if possible, to support our 34 residency programs. And if at all possible, we'd like to increase the funding and definitely not go less. We have a tremendous charge, and one thing that I can say that we're very proud of, after surveying all our residency programs across the board during this COVID pandemic that we've had, we have been working. We've been serving the programs and the people of Texas. Our clinics have been open. As a matter of fact, the biggest challenge right now is just dealing with a new constraint and new financial responsibility that we have with an appropriate app, if you can, in order to be able to do telemedicine. Most of our residency programs do not have that infrastructure in place, but fortunately, we've all been working. I do not know a single family medicine residency program that has been closed during this time. I'd love to appeal to the committee to consider the funding, and if possible, even increase the funding, and so that we can continue with the new challenges and be able to meet the new need for the needs that we have for rural residents of Texas. And we are continuing the charge as it was placed to us back in 1977, and we hope that we can continue doing that. So we really thank you for the support they've given us, and we'd like to continue at this level and even more if possible. Thank you very much. That's my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Unger. I have a couple of questions, then I'll open it up to the other committee members for questions.
Yes, sir.
One is, with the as this committee has approved this past year, as you know, in our coordinating board, the entire board, new medical schools that are coming on board. How does that fit into the 34 family practice residencies that we have? And what does it look like expansion? Obviously, you mentioned financial constraints, but has your committee taken that into effect with the new schools that are coming on board?
We've actually done that. And fortunately, for those schools that are coming on board, there's 3 things that we need to look at here. First, they were all charged that before they could start a medical school, they had to make sure that there was funding and spots available for residents across the board in all specialties. And those schools, before they could be allowed to start the medical school, they had to come up with the funding for the graduate medical education. And so that really helps us out. So that is something that does not have to come through our budget. Over the years of family medicine, I know that may become an issue, but that's an issue that we're going to address in the future. Secondly, one of the things that we do not want to happen, we know that with the graduate medical education expansion and the new medical schools, the more residents are graduate and leave the state of Texas, statistics show that they don't come back. We would hate to lose those doctors, especially for rural communities of Texas. We know that what we are doing right now is working. We'd like to continue that. We also do not want to lose our medical students to go to other communities and other states, because we lose them whenever that happens. And third, as long as we keep the pie about the same and a little bit larger. We know that over the years, we may have some shifts and changes in the number of residents allocated in every residency program. That happens. Sometimes a residency program starts with 12 per year and then they end up 8 and 10 per year. And that allows money for us to be able to make some shifts and changes within the program so that we can at least keep at the same level or not too far below the same level. So that works out pretty good for us.
Yes, because we obviously have, and we know the data that shows that we have a shortage of family practice physicians. And that's why this committee is very important in terms of the funding. So we understand that. So I think we've got to definitely work with you as far as the legislature is concerned, and especially now with the pandemic that we have, frontline family practices are our front line for that. The other question, I read the minutes for your May 29th meeting.
Yes.
And I was wondering, because you're a committee here for the coordinating board, so we appreciate you and all the members of the committee. But I noticed that the public members were not present. Is there any particular reason why? Are they always not present at every meeting, your advisory meeting, or does it just happen to be that particular meeting? Because I happen to know one of the folks that the governor appointed. So the governor appoints 3 public members. And I noticed that I looked at the attendance and no public member was present.
Actually, it was open to the public. It was all done via Zoom. This is a new challenge for everything. And this was when this Zoom thing was actually starting. And so we opened it to the public and it was available online for everybody to be able to join in. And so we got what we got, unfortunately. But I think as we go forward, we'll make it more public, more people will be available for that.
No, I know, I understand that. I knew it was made public, but I'm asking about the public members on your committee, the 3 that are the public members.
They
They
were
just didn't-
invited, but they just didn't show up.
Okay, I was just curious. Okay.
Yes. They were
Okay,
invited,
now,
but they didn't show up.
board member, committee members that are on from the board have any questions for Dr. Unger? Any questions or comments? Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Unger, for that report. We appreciate the hard work that you and your committee are doing. That's very important work in terms of getting those numbers and the figures to be able to keep those family practice residencies afloat, and then hopefully, as you say, grow them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Farias.
You're welcome. Do I have a motion for approval of the report?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Torn. Do I have a second, please?
Second, this is Donna Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Seconds. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell,
4.
Ms. Schwartz,
4.
Mr. Torn,
4.
Ms. Williams,
4,
and Mr. Wilson.
4.
And the motion passes. I also vote for, by the way, Mary, on those. I think I am a voting member as well, unless I break a tie only. Okay, so Dr. Unger is also a presenter for item 5F. Given that I would like to take up item 5F out of order as a courtesy to Dr. Unger, unless there's an objection, I would proceed with item 5F at this time. Is that okay with our committee? Any objection to that? Okay, great, thank you. Hearing none, we'll go to agenda 5F, which is consideration of adopting the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee's recommendation to the committee relating to the distribution of funds trusted to the coordinating board to support family practice residency programs for fiscal year 2021. Dr. Fred Unger, Vice Chair of Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee, will present the advisory committee's funding recommendations for the program. Dr. Unger and Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic Quality, will be available to answer questions. Dr. Unger.
Thank you very much again, Dr. Farias. And again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm going to basically report essentially the same thing that I reported earlier. And again, funding recommendations are made to the Texas Education Board by the 12-member group of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee. Again, we have funded over 10,000 family medicine residents over the years. And according to the House Bill 186 legislature, we were appropriated $5 million in the 2021 biennium. And following the recommendation for funding, estimated awards for the 2021 biennium would love for it to remain at $5 million, like I said earlier. And this would actually allow us to be able to support all the 34 programs that we have right now at a tune of $5,485 per resident. We'll also continue with a total of 874 residents, like I said earlier, and also we'll have 40 rural rotations. These are important to us. The rural rotations are extremely important to us because we've noticed that over the years, as we put doctors in the rural rotations, even just for 1 month, there's a very good likelihood that those people are going to go back there to practice because they're actually working under family physicians who have done a tremendous job of just mentoring them and showing them. And that's how I ended up in Abilene, Texas. I practiced there for a long time, and I continue to support those programs. And because of my presence in Abilene, Texas, I've been able to put 10 doctors from my residency program in the Taylor County area, and that has been a tremendous, tremendous success. Also, over the years, just with my experience here at Texas Tech Lubbock, I've placed over 50% of my graduates in rural locations across the country. So these rural rotation programs, this grant that we get from the state really helps out. So we're going to have 40 opportunities for that at the tune of $2,500, a total of $100,000. And we'll have 3 public health rotations at a tune of $2,000. And with the COVID public health awareness and expertise is really, really important. And that's going to be $6,000 total. And again, for the FDC, the Faculty Development Center at the University of North Texas Health Science Center, College of Osteopathic Medicine, is going to be $100,000. We really support the programs that they have because once our residents finish training and they want to get into academia, we need for them to be developed and to be prepared appropriately for academic medicine. And this has been a tremendous success. We'll continue to open up more opportunities for more residents and more graduates to be able to pursue this. The total allocation that we're asking for once again is $5 million. And like Dr. Farrier said, if we can get more money to be able to support family medicine residency programs with the new changes and the new financial constraints that we're experiencing, telemedicine and everything that comes with it, we'd really appreciate that. And thank you so much for that. That's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Unger. Dr. Silverman, would you like to say a few comments about the, please?
I'm just here in a support role. So I think Dr. Unger did a great job, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Dr. Silverman. Yes, I agree, you did a great job. Dr. Unger, please thank Dr. Reagan, the chair of the committee, for us, and all committee members for the hard work and the extra time that y'all put into this very important committee that really gives us an understanding of the funding and the necessity of having family practice residencies in rural areas in Texas, which is one of our main goals in healthcare, to try to solve that issue by establishing new medical schools. This board has really studied this over the last several years, and that's the goal, is to try to help establish more family practices, having them stay, the students stay in our state. And so we appreciate the work you're doing, and I appreciate the work that the coordinating board members are doing in order to help support this. And I know that we support the program very, very highly, and that anything that y'all need from us as board members or our committee specifically, please continue to keep us in communication with that. But thank you for your service.
Thank you.
At this time, yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Unger. At this time, do I have a motion for approval of the recommendation of the Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee?
Dr. Frias, I have one quick question, if you don't mind.
Yes, Ms. Schwartz, please.
I'm just curious about the allocation of the where the residents are funded to the different institutions and how that decision-making process works.
Actually, can I go ahead and answer?
Yes, please, Dr. Unger.
Actually, what we do with that is we notify all the program directors, which we meet annually in Austin. Now with the Zoom, this is going to be the way of the future. And so we notify all the program directors of how much money is available for funding. So we open it up to all the residents, and we also encourage all program directors to encourage their residents to go on a rural rotation. So what we've done at Texas Tech, for example, we have a mandatory second-year rural rotation program. And so we have physicians recruited across rural Texas to be able to help us participate in this process. And so to mitigate some of the expenses that they incur, we have the $2,500 allocation to all the residents that participate in this. And it's actually bore a tremendous amount of fruits because it's been able to expose some people who did not know very much about rural medicine, rural Texas. And they've been able we've been able to recruit doctors in places where we just did not think we could place doctors. And so it's just open to all the residency programs. And then we encourage program directors to be creative on how they recruit residents for those opportunities. And every year we've been taking up on every single dollar that we've had. And so it's working. It's working very well in getting residents to go to those rural rotation locations. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. And I will move to approve.
Okay, I was just going to say, Dr. Unger, Ms. Schwartz is in the healthcare industry in El Paso, and she's got a health degree. So she's that's a very good question, actually.
We appreciate the residents in the rural areas very much. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any further questions or discussion? If not, do I have a motion for approval of this recommendation of Family Practice Residency Advisory Committee? I think I heard a motion by Ms. Schwartz, correct?
Yes, correct.
Do I have a second, please?
Second, this is Donna Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Second by Ms. Williams. When I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
4.
Thank you. Ms. Schwartz.
4.
Mr. Torn.
4.
Ms. Williams.
4.
Mr. Wilson.
4.
And I'll vote for, so the motion passes. Thank you again, Dr. Unger, for being here.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day. Agenda item 5B is the report to the Committee on Activities of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee. Dr. Justin Louder, Chair of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, will provide brief update on activities and be available to answer questions. Dr. Louder, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. And members of the committee, Commissioner Keller, and I believe Dr. Silverman is on the call as well. Thank you for asking me here today and letting me give a brief update on the activities of the Learning Technology Advisory Committee. Learning Technology Advisory Committee, or LTAC, is charged with engaging in substantive policy research regarding the role that learning technology plays in Texas higher education. And we provide advice and recommendations to the board and the commissioner and CB staff regarding technology enhanced and online and distance learning in Texas. We also have the responsibility to review distance education doctoral programs, to provide recommendations to the board for its consideration. We look at things like academic quality in online and distance learning, support and activities provided to our distance ed students around the state, and looking at things like open education resources and inclusive access to try to reduce the student debt cost and student net cost for higher education, to look at large-scale, low and no cost online textbook initiatives. I know the agenda item that you says that I'm the Assistant Vice Provost for e-learning at Texas Tech. I'm actually the Associate Vice Provost for e-learning at Texas Tech, and I also serve as the Interim Superintendent of the TTU K-12 program, which is a fully online K-12 program offered by Texas Tech. Patrick Plush is the Vice Chair for LTAC, and he serves as Associate Vice Provost for Learning Enhancement at the University of North Texas. Patrick and I have had the privilege of being the chair and co-chair of LTAC for the last couple of years, we are very proud of the work that the committee has done. Over the last several months during the pandemic, it is very obvious that the work of LTAC and the work of distance education professionals around Texas has become critically important to the education of our students, not only in higher education, but also in K-12 education. Now, although I'm here today to provide a report of our activities through the 2019 year, I'd be happy to answer any questions upon my conclusion. Over fiscal year 2019, we held 7 face-to-face meetings and 2 conference calls regarding distance and technology enhanced learning in Texas. We approved the establishment of a number of doctoral programs, including a new doctorate in nursing practice through online delivery at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, a new PhD in criminal justice offered through off-campus delivery by Tarleton State University. Texas Tech Health Science Center requested a new doctorate in occupational therapy that was approved online, and then we approved one at University of Texas El Paso for a new doctorate education offered through off-campus face-to-face delivery to help in educational administration. We also approved 3 different programs at Texas A&M, a new PhD in marine and coastal management and science, PhD in pharmaceutical sciences, and a PhD in interdisciplinary engineering. These 3 programs are being offered either off-campus, face-to-face, electronic to group, which means that students will meet in a classroom and professors are at another location. And so lectures will be sent in that way, or through online education. And finally, we approved a PhD in health sciences to be offered at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. The other big work, the other large project that LTAC completed through 2019 and implemented this year was an update of the principles of good practice for academic degree and certificate programs and credit courses offered at a distance. This is a document that universities around Texas use to evaluate online and distance education. It complies with both coordinating board rules, regulations set forth by CAWS, and also regulations that we have to meet for what is known as NC-SARA, or the National Council for the State Reciprocal Agreements, which allows Texas institutions to deliver online education outside of the state. This was a 18-month plus project to redesign the principles of good practice. I would like to give special thanks to Dr. Michelle Singh, who took this on as part of her work. And then after she left the LTAC committee, she still did work on the PGP program. This document had not been updated in several years, and it was fairly outdated. We spent a great deal of time talking to colleagues around the state, talking with CB staff and experts outside of the country, outside of the state, excuse me, to make sure that we have the best practices in this document to advocate for and request that institutions of higher ed in Texas offer degrees at the highest quality. Throughout the pandemic, we moved to having Zoom meetings for the last couple of months, and I believe we were the first advisory committee at the coordinating board to use Zoom for some of our meetings, which I think is fitting based on the role and the work that LTAC does. Through the next year, we were continuing to do look at principles of good practice, opportunities to expand and work with Dr. Kyla Torrey on the Open Education Resources Grant Program and repository, and work with Commissioner Keller on his initiatives dealing with educational technology. Overall, I think the work of LTAC has been very beneficial for not only the coordinating board, but also students in Texas in higher education institutions. And I'm happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
Thank you, Dr. Latter. I have a comment or a question as well. Does LTAC, you mentioned NC-SARA online. Can you kind of go into that a little bit? It hasn't changed any of the rules, national rules that affect our state.
Right. NC-SARA is a reciprocal organization that states have joined that allows institutions of higher ed to offer online courses outside of their home state. Before NC-SARA, each institution would have to follow rules of every state individually. Some states charged fees upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 per degree. So it was incredibly expensive for institutions to offer distance ed or online programs outside of Texas. With the establishment of NC-SARA, it coordinated all of the responses to different states. The states agreed on one general set of regulations. And so now institutions through the coordinating board will join NC-SARA and meet NC-SARA regulations that will allow us to offer distance ed and online programs outside of the state. NC-SARA is not a lawmaking body. It does have regulations, and it is they do work with all of the regional accreditors and the Department of Education. And many of the rules with NC-SARA follow along with CAWS guidelines, as well as U.S. Department of Education regulations. So by following NC-SARA, we're also following regional and national rules and regulations for distance ed.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion or further questions for Dr. Lauder from our committee members?
Fred, I've got a question. Dr. Lauder, there's a big topic, and I'm not sure that we can address it now, but I do want to address it at a policy discussion in the future at the coordinating board. Are there what courses, just sort of Cliff Notes version. Undergraduate or graduate courses absolutely do not lend themselves to online education, because I mean, I'm surprised, like occupational therapy, I don't really know what that is, but that sounds like a pretty hands-on thing. But I'm talking about, you know, philosophy, or I don't know. So just a little perspective, where does it really work? Where does it absolutely not work?
Sure. And I think I will say through the spring, we had to find ways to make all courses work online, those that lend themselves and not. Before I was at Texas Tech, I was at Angelo State, where I helped in their online nursing program. And what I learned there and what I see at my role at Tech is theory-based classes and discussion-based classes, and those times work very well in an online environment. Lab-based courses or courses with some kind of practicum environment can work in a flipped setting, but you still need some physical lab interaction and things like that. For example, you know, chemistry courses. You can have lecture and things online, but you still need to be in a lab for some of the work there. I think more and more technologies allow us to do things virtually, but there are some programs, especially those that have hands-on requirements that can do lecture online, but really need to have the didactic portion done on campus or in a lab setting. Does that Cliff Notes version answer your question? It's kind of hard, but yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I would think though that the more classes that require interaction, where you're really teaching students to think or you're exploring some issue, that would be more difficult. But anyway, I just want to explore that because it's a big, you know, hot topic in future coordinated board meetings. But thank you for your presentation and your work and your hard work.
Yeah, Chairman Stedman, I think it's a very good point, and it'd be great to have some presentation on that. I had a visit with a friend of mine whose daughter will be a first-year college student, and she will be a theater major, and their concern is the online, you know, at a university here in Texas, in terms of, you know, the teaching in theater in certain areas, you know, so it can be a challenge in certain areas. So I think something that definitely to keep an eye on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Louder, you had a comment?
I was just going to say, you know, I worked with our theater and arts programs at Texas Tech in the spring, and utilizing technologies like this, like Zoom, like Blackboard Collaborate, or Skype for Business, things like that. You can do some of this real-time interaction and have those discussions, but once again, I think those are some of the areas that you do need that physical in the space and learn how to work with the space that you're in. I think just back to your point in the previous conversation, LTAC would be happy to work with CB staff and the commissioner if that's something that the commissioner would like to look at some of these areas that may need a little more face-to-face or interaction versus what can be done online.
Great. Okay. So any other discussion on the LTAC report, Learning Technology Advisory Committee? That's what LTAC stands for.
Dr. Freeze, if I could just make
Go ahead, I'm
comment.
sorry. Sure. Yes, please.
So I want to say really appreciate Justin and Patrick and the LTAC committee. They're very helpful to us both in their formal work, but informally, and we've had very good, productive conversations. Just to point out that the kinds of centers and campus support groups that they and their colleagues lead suddenly went from supporting maybe 300 online courses to 3,000 online courses within the space of a couple of weeks. And so that work that they did for their campuses is very impressive. Of course, they would be the first to point out that there's a lot more work to do to help shore up quality and support faculty, especially as they're looking ahead to the fall. And I just want to say that I especially appreciate the members of this committee that despite all the demands on their campuses, also carved out time to help contribute to these state policy conversations and conversations about what kinds of support and resources their institutions and other institutions need so we could enhance quality across the state. So I just wanted to say publicly, Justin, Patrick, if you're listening, the other members of the LTAC committee, deeply appreciate your help and your partnership.
Okay, thank you for those comments, and we agree as well as a committee. Okay, so do I have a motion? If there's no other discussion, for approval of the report?
Welcome Wilson, so moved.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Wilson. Do I have a second?
Second,
Who is that, please?
Mr. Torn.
Thank you, Mr. Torn. A second by Mr. Torn. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell,
4.
Ms. Schwartz,
4.
Mr. Torn,
4.
Ms. Williams,
4.
Mr. Wilson.
4.
I vote for, so the motion passes. Thank you very much, Dr. Latter, for being here.
Thank
We
you all.
will
Have a
move
good
on.
day.
Anyone else notice that there's a theme of Red Raiders here so far? What about the Longhorns, the Aggies, and the Cougars, and all the rest, right? Agenda item 5C through 5E were approved on consent calendar. Agenda items 5G through 5H were approved on consent calendar. Agenda item 5I is the consideration of adopting the staff recommendation, the committee relating to the strategies to incentivize institutions of higher education to develop degree programs in cybersecurity. A report to the Texas Legislature, Senate Bill 6486, Texas Legislature regular session. Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic Quality and Workforce, will present this item, be available to answer questions. Dr. Silverman.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Farias, and it's just good to see all of your faces. So yes, I have a few slides to review with this presentation. Senate Bill 64 required the coordinating board, in collaboration with the Department of Information Resources, or DIR, to explore ways to incentivize Texas public higher education institutions to develop more certificate and degree programs in cybersecurity, and to submit a report to the Lieutenant Governor, Speaker, and the presiding officer of each legislative standing committee with primary jurisdiction over higher education, and each governing board of an institution of higher education, not later than September 1 of this year. Next slide. So the coordinating board and DIR conducted 2 surveys and held a day-long focus group meeting with institutional representatives to better understand the existing landscape and to gain insights into what prompted an institution to begin to develop a new certificate or degree program in cybersecurity. Next slide. So based on the survey data and focus group insights, 4 recommendations were developed. The first, provide state funding. Institutions with existing cybersecurity certificate or degree programs were able to secure funding through external grants, institutional resources, or industry partners. Institutions without cybersecurity certificate or degree offerings reported that they lacked the necessary resources, including labs, equipment, and qualified faculty to develop these programs. The second recommendation is to create partnerships with industry. Institutions with cybersecurity programs were able to first establish advisory groups and committees to help address the need for cybersecurity degree programs and graduates. Institutions that seek to develop certificates and degree programs would benefit from collaborating with local industry leaders to understand and respond to labor market needs. Slide 4. Recommendation 3, develop a standardized curriculum. The National Institutes of Standards and Technology developed a framework that establishes a taxonomy and common lexicon for cybersecurity. Institutions are encouraged to align their curriculum with these established standards. Recommendation 4, ensure clear articulation pathways from high school to college. The coordinating board should work with the Texas Education Agency to develop articulated pathways from high school to college. So that concludes my report. but I also want to recognize and thank my staff, Dr. Audra Patridge, for her leadership on this project, and thank the folks from DIR and the institutional representatives for their input and work on this report. The staff recommendation is for approval.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Silverman. Thank you very much. Any questions or discussion from the committee for Dr. Silverman? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of this staff recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Campbell. Do I have a second?
Second, Emma Schwartz.
Okay, thank you. Second by Ms. Schwartz. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell,
4.
Ms. Schwartz,
4.
Mr. Korn,
4.
Ms. Williams,
4.
Mr. Wilson,
4.
and I'll vote for, so motion passes. Thank you all. Agenda
Fred,
item.
can you hear me?
Yes.
I-
Jeffrey, welcome.
I'm also I just got my telephone, this thing working because
Okay,
our
can see
computer was not working.
Okay, we can see you now. So welcome to our committee meeting, but you will not be called on the vote. That's okay. You're just an important member.
I've got to go get another degree in computers. No.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. We're now on agenda items 5J through 5L3. And
How come my face is not?
Javaid, can you press your mute button, please?
Oh, I'm
Thank you. Okay, we're on agenda items 5J through 5L3, and they were approved on the consent calendar. So we move on to agenda items 5L4, which is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation of the committee relating to the request from the University of Texas at El Paso for a Doctor of Philosophy PhD with a major in data science. We have online, I know, Dr. Stephen Kritz, who is the Dean in Graduate School and Associate Provost from the University of Texas at El Paso. Online, Dr. Amy Wagler is Associate Chair of Mathematical Sciences, so we welcome them online. And I'll have Dr. Stacy Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic Quality and Workforce, will be available to answer your questions. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. The University of Texas at El Paso is proposing a Doctor of Philosophy degree with a major in data science to begin in fall 2020. The proposed doctoral program would be the first in Texas and require 67 semester credit hours beyond a bachelor's or 55 semester credit hours beyond the master's. The proposed program would prepare students to work as data science experts in industry and academia. Data science is an interdisciplinary field of mathematics, statistics, computer programming, and business. Data science experts analyze large data sets, extract analytical insights, and communicate findings to business and government. The institution anticipates enrolling 7 new students annually and would provide financial assistance to roughly half the students. The estimated 5-year costs are $3.4 million, and estimated funding for the program is $3.7 million. The institution received a positive review from the first ever virtual site visit team, and the institution will hire 2 additional core faculty members. One would start in the first year and the other would start in the second year of the program. The institution will provide documentation of the hires and will submit annual progress reports in years 1, 3, and 5. This is a change, as for the past several years, institutions have reported 5 annual reports. However, in reviewing this requirement, we recognize that we could reduce the reporting requirement for institutions moving forward while still understanding how the program is progressing in its first 5 years of operation. The staff recommendation is for approval. And again, we do have institutional representatives available if there are any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. Dr. Kritz and Dr. Wagner, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, this is Steve Kratz. I'm the Dean of the Graduate School. Let me just say that we're excited about this proposal, and it fits into one of our larger objectives. We've recently done a lot of work on what we need to do for data science and getting students, undergraduates trained so that they can go into fields. This is becoming more important, the ability to analyze data, extract meaning from it. We have initiatives to kind of start retraining people. There might be people who are, let's say, have an undergraduate degree in English, but now realize they need data science skills. And so this is a whole group of programs that we have, and the doctoral degree is kind of essential on that, kind of one of the main pieces for the people who want to advance up. I will turn it over to Dr. Wagler. She can answer some of the details about the program. Dr. Wagler?
Okay, thank you, Wagler.
Hello, thank you for having us all today. I think one of the things I would like to point out about the program, first of all, is how 3 years ago, in the summer, we did hold a sequence of meetings with regional industry representatives, leaders in our area, and assessed what are your needs with regard to data science, what kinds of positions would you like to see, what kinds of skills would you like to see, and then this degree program was formulated and designed under those recommendations. And so part of the program is, of course, to build a solid foundation in the mathematics and statistics and computing necessary to be a professional data scientist. But then we will also be requiring having students do industry internships and collaborative research projects. So they gain the research skills, the soft skills necessary to be part of a research team or industry work group, and we'll develop those kinds of skills that are often reported as lacking in data science professionals. So this degree program was created to produce that whole package of a data scientist, somebody who has the technical know-how and abilities, but also can work in a team, can collaborate with non-data science professionals, and build value within an organization.
Very good. Thank you, both of you. Any questions or discussion or questions for Dr. Fritz or Dr. Wagler or Dr. Silverman, please? If not, do I have a motion for approval of the staff recommendation?
So moved. This is Donna Williams.
Okay, moved by Ms. Williams, second by Ms. Schwartz. Thank you. Well, members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell?
For.
Ms. Schwartz?
For.
Mr. Torn?
For.
Ms. Williams?
For.
Mr. Wilson?
For.
And I vote for, so the motion passes. Thank you. For those of
Fred, I'm Javaid Anwar, I too, okay?
Okay, well, just the members of the committee, we're still on the Committee for Academic and Workforce Success, so only the members of the committee can vote right now, but we're happy to have you support it as well. But officially, that's okay, no worries. So those of you that are joining us right now live on the internet, you've tuned into the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board committee meeting for the Academic and Workforce Success Committee, and we're on agenda item 5L5, those that are following carefully. Agenda item 5L5 is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation of the committee relating to the request for Midwestern State University for a Doctor of Education, EDD, with a major in educational leadership. We do have some representatives online. James Johnston is the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. We have Ms. Kathy Zuckweiler, the Dean of the Billy Doris McAid Graduate School, Matthew Capps, who's the Dean of West College of Education. So welcome you all here. Dr. Stacy Silverman, the Assistant Commissioner for Academic Quality and Workforce, will be available to answer questions, and Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. Midwestern State University is proposing to offer its first doctoral program, the Doctor of Education, or EDD, degree in educational leadership. The proposed program would require completion of 54 to 57 semester credit hours beyond the master's degree and begin in spring 2021. Students would also have an option to complete the superintendent certification. The proposed program would be a hybrid distance education offering with courses offered online and with some in-person meetings. The proposed curriculum would could be completed in 4 years. The proposed program builds on a collaborative partnership program between Midwestern State and the University of North Texas, which began in 1996 and offered students at Midwestern State an opportunity to pursue the EDD through a hybrid program in which the degree was conferred by UNT. While there are many EDD programs in Texas and some offered online, the institution made the case that the proposed program would serve the regional needs of the area. The nearest program is in Denton at UNT, which is 100 miles from Wichita Falls. Midwestern State will hire 1 core faculty member prior to the opening of the program and will submit documentation of the hire to the coordinating board and will submit annual progress reports in years 1, 3, and 5. The staff recommendation is for approval, and we do have institutional representatives available if there are questions.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. Mr. Johnston, James Johnston, would you like to say a word or two?
Yes, thank you. And good morning. Again, my name is James Johnston. I serve as the provost of Midwestern State University. And I want to be respectful of your time, but we just highlight a couple of points. First, I'd like to thank the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board staff worked with us to provide additional information and refine the proposal that is for your consideration. I also want to emphasize that this is a strategic initiative, part of our current strategic plan. That plan was created by a campus-wide committee, which underscores the campus-wide support for moving us up to offer terminal degrees in this first degree in educational leadership. Again, our experience began with this cooperative agreement between Midwestern State and the University of North Texas. And I think this is the key strength. A number of the courses that are in this proposal are already taught at MSU and built into the course load of our faculty. Also, as noted, there are currently no comparable doctoral programs in Region 9, which serves 37 school districts across 12 counties in North Texas. So our proposal would fill this need and increase the supply of qualified education administrators available in Region 9 and throughout Texas. I'd also say that MSU administration and our Board of Regents are fully supportive of this effort. We've identified and set aside the resources that we will need, and MSU administration is committed to the success of this program should it be approved. So I know we've provided a lot of information to you, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have of us.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. Ms. Kathy Zuckweiler, would you like to say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. Farias. This is a tremendous opportunity for us to better serve the educational administration needs in our area. The Mankato Graduate School has worked very closely with the West College of Education, and I think that there's definitely a need in our region. We have the experience and the expertise to deliver this program, and we are more than happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Matthew Capps.
Thank you very much. The only other thing I would add is I'd like to again emphasize the financial support that we have, not only from the university, but also from private foundations. The West Foundation has paid for half of every doctoral degree conferred through our joint program for the last 24 years, and we have the financial support from them to continue to do that. I think that's a very unique situation that we find ourselves in, that we have that level of scholarship support for our candidates, and I think it puts us in a good position to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Just if one of you three could just give us a little information. A lot of people are watching online about Midwestern State University, you know, kind of a little makeup about the university. A lot of people may not be familiar with it. Just give us a general, you know, idea about it, population and location and all those good things, please.
Sure. I can do that. Midwestern State University is located in Wichita Falls, Texas. We have a population of approximately 100,000. We are one of the three primary employers and entities in Wichita Falls. Shepherd Air Force Base is also here and an important partner to the community. The university is 6,000 students. We are a public liberal arts university with very strong professional programs in education, health sciences, offering, currently, again, undergraduate, graduate degrees. We have a long history of distance education. We've delivered successfully a number of undergraduate and graduate programs for decades. So feel very, very good about this next step and this addition to the identity and the makeup of Midwestern State University.
Great, thank you so much. Is there any discussion or any questions for Dr. Silverman or any of the panel? If not, do I have a motion for approval of the staff recommendation?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Torn. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Cody Campbell.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Campbell. All in favor? I will call your name and please state whether you're for or against. Mr. Campbell.
For.
Ms. Schwartz.
For.
Mr. Torn.
For.
Ms. Williams.
For.
Mr. Wilson.
For.
And I vote for as well. Motion passes. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you very
good day.
much.
Thank you for being online with us. The next item is agenda item 5M, which is scheduled for lunch. But I want to just kind of take a quick poll. I'd like to see if the members would like to just kind of go on. And there's not much more left on my committee. So if it's okay with everybody, not to take the break and we can continue on. Is that okay? Is there any objection to that?
Works for me.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Campbell. So, all right, so we shall continue and cover the rest of the agenda. Agenda items 5N through 5P5 were on the consent calendar. Agenda item 5Q is consideration of adopting a staff recommendation to the committee relating to suspending the September 1st, 2020 effective date for fields of study previously adopted by the board. Dr. Silverman, Assistant Commissioner for Academic Quality and Workforce, will be available to answer questions. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you, Dr. Farias. As many of you know, one of Commissioner Keller's highest priorities is to significantly improve transfer, particularly for students at our community colleges who wish to transfer to a public four-year university. Of course, last session, Senate Bill 25 was passed into law, which creates many important requirements to improve transfer in Texas. In order to build upon the momentum created last year with the passage of Senate Bill 25, the coordinating board convened a small informal work group, the Transfer Work Group, which is comprised of an equal number of representatives from public, two-year and four-year institutions. Work group members have been meeting regularly since April 23rd to collaboratively develop and make recommendations to substantially improve vertical transfer and the applicability of credit in Texas public higher education institutions. The work group aims to improve the rate at which students transfer from 2 to 4-year institutions, the efficiency with which transfer students complete a 4-year degree, and the degree to which transfer students are satisfied with the college experience. In particular, the transfer work group is examining existing transfer resources, such as the field of study curricula, the Texas core curriculum, and the Texas Common Course numbering system, among others, to develop ideas and recommendations on ways to improve these resources and ultimately to make vertical transfer more transparent and student-friendly. The transfer work group will continue meeting over the next few months, and any recommendations that are developed by the group will be presented to Commissioner Keller and to the full board for consideration. At tomorrow's board meeting, Jacob Frere, President and CEO of Texas Association of Community Colleges, and Dr. James Hallmark, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs for Texas A&M University, will, so sorry about that, my apologies. So Dr. Hallmark, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs for Texas A&M University, will provide an update on the work they are doing in leading the meetings and the discussions on the transfer work group. Pending the ongoing review of transfer initiatives, staff recommends that the field of study scheduled to become effective September 1 be suspended. These fields of study were approved by the board in 2019, but have not yet gone into effect. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Silverman. Is there any discussion? Any further discussion or questions? So I appreciate the commissioner visiting with me as the chair of this committee several months ago about this, and it really makes a lot of sense with the way things are going with the pandemic and things like that, and so with our new leadership, that it makes time for us to be able to coordinate this, and so I think this is a very good recommendation. And do I have a motion for approval for this staff recommendation?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Campbell. Do I have a second?
Second by Ms. Schwartz.
Thank you. Second by Ms. Schwartz. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
4.
Ms. Schwartz.
4.
Mr. Torn.
4.
Williams.
4.
Mr. Wilson.
4.
I'm 4, so the motion passes. Thank you all. Agenda item 5R is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation of the committee relating to a request to establish a contract with the higher education artificial intelligence vendor for the virtual advising project at ADVI, right? ADVI. Jarrell Booker, this is really interesting. Y'all pay attention because I think at the foundation meeting yesterday, we discussed this in detail, and I always learn more about this, which I think is going to be great for students as far as advising. So this is a really key decision on this contract, so please pay attention. Gerald Booker is the Assistant Commissioner of College Readiness and Success. Will present this item, be available to answer questions. Mr. Booker.
I guess good late morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Jarrell Booker. I'm presenting on agenda item 5R, and as a few of you may recall, about 18 months ago, we received your approval to build a virtual advising platform where we pair artificial intelligence, what we call a chatbot, with near peer advisors, real people, live folks. And students, parents, counselors, teachers are able to ask a college related question 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and actually receive a response. We call the virtual advising platform ADVI, and the way that the chatbot works is it's able to respond to questions based off of a database where we have over 1,200 responses, and then we have live near-peer advisors who receive intense training through our Advise Texas program, and where they focus on college access, financial aid, and other student services. They would be available if the chatbot or artificial intelligence is unable to answer the question, then it gets escalated, and we have live people there we call virtual advisors there to answer the questions. Originally, when we first requested approval to get this project started, we partnered with the University of Texas at Austin to help develop and implement the platform. But now we are seeking to take a more scalable and strategic approach to not only Advise Texas, but to our ADVI program. We feel moving this initiative in-house will provide increased student access to advising resources, help greater number of graduating high school seniors, college students, and adult workers at some point whose lives and educational journeys have been disrupted due to COVID-19. Also, moving this project in-house will allow us to reach more students where they are. We'll be able to add additional advisors and streamline the growth of the artificial intelligence content knowledge base, which is critical. We want to get well beyond the 1,200 responses. In light of everything that's been happening, and with our Deputy Commissioner, Ray Martinez, dealing with our FAQ and the COVID, we're going to continue to seek safe, cost-effective methods to better assist students. If we are able to get this approval, we'll expand our partnerships with nonprofits, other state agencies, and seek additional grants, which Dr. Frias was kind of talking about with the foundation, I'm sure. I would like to at least take an opportunity to thank Aaron Willett from my staff, who's kind of managed and implemented this project, Claudette Jenks and Lisa Paez, who run Advise Texas, have kind of helped map out the future of this project. But with their help and with the commissioner's leadership, we respectfully request approval to establish a contract, our own artificial intelligence vendor to continue and expand the project so that way we can provide more student-friendly options to these students. That concludes my remarks, and I'm more than available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Booker. I'm glad you mentioned Ray Martinez. He is, by the way, the Deputy Commissioner with our Academic Workforce Success Committee, and he and I are in communication a lot on these programs and these issues. So thank you, Ray. I know you're on, and I wanted to recognize you. And I also wanted to mention this ADV idea is great. When you think about it, this is really going to be affecting a lot of students, high school students trying to make decisions. And this is going to be great because as Mr. Booker had mentioned, this is going to be like 24/7. And, you know, with the schedules that people have, they go to school, they work, you know, life is always going on. And so this gives them an opportunity at their own time. And, you know, students of that age are obviously very mobile and internet savvy. And it's just a great tool to be able to advise students. So I think this is great that we're bringing it in-house and being able to expand more than the general questions that are on there. Even there's 1,200 or so, I would say, canned questions, but this way there can also be personal advising. So I think this is a great opportunity for the coordinating board to reach out to our constituents, which are our students, the parents, and the folks in Texas that are interested in higher education and getting more people into higher education. So this is a big win-win, and having this opportunity. And I know the foundation's working on and already has some funding allocated for this. And I think this is just going to skyrocket. And I think this is a great program. Any comments or discussions from our committee members? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Torn, second.
Second, this is Donna Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Second by Ms. Williams. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
For.
Ms. Schwartz.
For.
Mr. Torn.
For.
Ms. Williams.
For.
Mr. Wilson.
For.
I vote for, so the motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 6 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
moved.
moved. This is Donna.
Not second, Cody Campbell.
Thank you. A motion to adjourn by Ms. Williams, a second by Mr. Campbell. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Mr. Campbell.
For.
Ms. Schwartz.
For.
Mr. Torn.
For.
Ms. Williams.
For.
Mr. Wilson.
For.
And I vote for, so the motion passes. We will now take a short break to allow staff to set up for the agency operations meeting, which will begin in approximately 5 minutes. Members, please remain on the conference call. Thank you very much.